You're listening to the Southampton Delivery Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Southampton Football Club and all of the SFC fans.
You just got to go out and express yourself.
Fonte with a scooping header.
You just got to get the job done. I'm here to get the job done.
Подача, Остин! Все-таки забил!
It's infield to Mane, 25 yards out. Lovely ball for Bella. Onside, 1-0. Buffon shot! Oh my word!
Unbelievable. He ran around the pitch like Bambi on ice. It was very, very embarrassing to watch.
And now, your host, Matt Markstone. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Southampton Delivery Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Southampton Football Club and all of the SFC fans. My name is Matt Markstone, the host of the show. No matter where you are, no matter how you may be listening, whether this is your first time or you've been here before, thank you for making the show part of your day. I hope that you enjoy it. It is in the middle of an international break, but here in the United States, this is Thanksgiving week. This is my absolute favorite holiday. There's no dressing up. There's no buying people things that they probably won't use more than a couple of times. There's no kind of, you don't have to pretend to be anything that you're not, or have anything that you don't, or be happy with something that somebody gives you, even if it's, not what you were hoping for. But this is just about, one, having food that I absolutely enjoy, but more so about spending time with the people that are truly special, the people that you want to be around, the people that push you to be a better person. And I don't know, that is why this is so, this is why it's my favorite holiday. It's why it's so special to me. We are hosting. My job today was to clean up some stuff. Instead, I found a big sprinkler leak and I spent all day fixing that, but I am here. And when I talked with Becky Harris about her role in playing for the Southampton Women's Football Club over the past several seasons, it just kind of gave me a reminder of, what is special about some of those people that we have close to us. And the way she talks about the team, it makes it sound like, they are close. They are a team, an actual team. They care about each other. They pick each other up. They push each other. And all of those things, I think, are just a couple of more reasons why this team, the Southampton Women's Football Club, is so special. It's why some of the players stay. It's why people that play for the club and know the club talk so highly about it. So I won't take up any more time here, though. Let's get straight to my interview with Becky Harris, who's on Twitter at Becky4H. We'd like to welcome to the Southampton Delivery Podcast, Becky Harris. She's on Twitter at Becky4H, and she is a member of the Southampton Women's Football Club. Becky, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, my pleasure. I know you're going to be going to a match today to watch the first team, and we'll talk about where you play for the team and how you play for the team and how you came and all that stuff. But your day going okay so far? You're looking forward to the match and feeling good for the first team? You think they're going to be, what do you think the result will be? And this will be out by the time the result will happen by the time it comes out, but we'll see. We'll see what your predictions are like.
Yeah. Score predictions. I think they'll do well today. I think they've got a solid team across all positions as well. So it's hard because Gosport are a lot of the couple of leagues below the first.
Okay.
So I know that they'll get the win. So I'm going to go 5-0.
Okay. It seems like a lot of times I check and halftime scores 1-0 or 1-1, and then second half scores like 7-1, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that got out of control quickly.
You need to ask what Simon says at halftime.
Yeah,
clearly it worked.
Yeah, or it's the sprints and stuff that just get you through that other teams don't do. Maybe
maybe our Statler's better.
Yeah. So Becky, just before we get into football and all that stuff, like, where did you grow up? Are you from Southampton? Or are you from a different part of the country or a different country even? And then how'd you wind up in Southampton? So I'm originally from a town called Camberley, which is about an hour south of London. And I sort of grew up there with
my 2 sisters and brother, and obviously mum and dad. But then I ended up going to Winchester University a couple of years ago now, and then sort of wanted to move down here after graduating. So I went home for a little bit, and then a couple of months after going home, I then moved down here with a couple of friends from university, got a job down here, and I've sort of been here ever since.
And you like it?
Yeah, I love it. It's home now. So yeah, I can't see myself moving too far away from Southampton now. So no, it's a good place. I like it.
And where you grew up, what's the closest professional team, or what's the closest professional club from? Would it be Crystal Palace or not? No,
it'd be Reading.
Reading, okay.
So yeah, I mean, they're not Premiership, but Reading would be the closest. That's about a 40-minute drive.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the closest team. That's the one that any sort of the girls that I played with when I was younger, if they were to sort of be scouted by any team, that would be the team that that would sort of snap them up, as it were. They had a good development side or development program when I was younger. But then also Chelsea's not too far as well. Their training grounds in Cobham,
okay,
which is really close to sort of where my parents live now. So there's a lot of footballing experience in the area, so it was quite nice.
Yeah. And then, I mean, growing up, did you support Chelsea or did you support Reading?
Oh, no.
Or who did you? And was football a big deal in your house when you were growing up, or was it just you, or you know, how did the football portion of it start?
So I did not support Chelsea. Nothing wrong with supporting Chelsea, obviously, but not my team.
I mean, there are a lot of things wrong with supporting Chelsea, if you ask me.
So my dad is a huge Arsenal fan. He grew up around that area. So he's, as long as I've known, has been an Arsenal fan. So he kind of embedded that in me and my brother. More my brother first, and then I sort of caught on to it. And then my brother decided to become a glory hunter at the time that Man United were doing very, very well. So he has since supported Man United. In fairness to him, he's stuck with them. So he's no longer a glory hunter, but at the time it was because he wanted to support the winning team, and they were winning pretty much everything. So, you know, we'll blame it on his innocence. But so he transferred over to Man United, and me and my dad have sort of stuck with Arsenal. And now my uncle actually lives in Highbury and Islington.
Okay.
And he's got a couple of season tickets up at the Emirates, and he takes us every now and again. So no, it's really good. It's a bit of a family affair supporting Arsenal in that sense. So no, it's really nice.
Yeah, my best friend's an Arsenal fan, and I feel like I say that all the time. And he constantly tries to tell me, you know, like, Arsenal's kind of like supporting like the small team of the big six, and I'm like, shut your mouth. I don't even want to hear this. But whatever.
No, I say we're up there in the big six. We just need to, you know, find our feet a little bit, and then we'll be laughing. But it's just taken a while.
Yeah, and I mean, Wenger was there for so long, and then now it's kind of this whole new thing, and you know, it's been a joy to watch the team play this season. And even, you know, maybe not last season as much, but I watch them probably. I do watch them in Liverpool and City whenever they're on, because the football is good. It's kind of enjoyable, and that's what I hope Southampton will play at some point in my life, but it hasn't happened.
I'm sure they will.
Last couple of years.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like I always supported Wenger. I really liked Wenger. I think he did a lot for the club. Like, he gave us that unbeatable season, and you know, you can't forget like what he has done for the club. I think maybe he stayed a little bit longer than he should have, but I never ever had a bad word to say about him, and never will have a bad word to say him. I think he did great. Like, he did wonders for the club. So as an Arsenal fan, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And this season, like, you know, we're doing okay. Like, you know, when you look at Chelsea and you look at Man United, when they've had new managers come in, they've done appallingly. and they've ended up either sacking that manager or sacking them halfway through the season. So for us to be on sort of stable ground at the moment, even with like a couple of draws, a couple of losses, we're doing good. We're doing good with a new manager, and a lot of the players are like obviously finding their feet, and a lot of just settling in, getting used to it with the new manager. So as an Arsenal fan, this season has not gone too badly.
Yeah,
so far.
Yeah, no, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how the new structure develops, and
yes.
It seems like a lot of teams go every 3 years. You get a new manager. You wonder if Arsenal will go that way. And it's a whole new adventure, and it'll be fine. Or it'll be a dumpster fire at some point, but I don't think so.
Exactly. I think it's one of two ways, but at the moment we're on stable ground, and we can cope with that.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. And like you say, we're playing good football.
Yeah. Now, did you play? It sounded like you played football from a pretty young age. Did it start with your with your brother, or was it you first, or did you play other sports, or how did that work?
So my brother played football first. He's younger than me. He's how old are you? So he's 23, I think. So and I'm 28. So he's a couple of years younger than me. So he played football before me, and I think from what I remember, I got jealous of him playing football, so I wanted to play football as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually started playing when I was 10. Prior to that, swimming was always like a big sport in our family. So my brother he swam for our county and competed in the nationals for swimming as well. So sport's always been sort of encouraged in our house. Okay. And both my sisters, my youngest sister was a dancer. So she was brilliant at that. I sort of watched a few of her shows, and they were fantastic. And then my other sister sort of went more down the route of athletics, and she was very good at that, very fast, very good at throwing. So we're all quite sporty, but across the four of us. And then when it got to sort of teenage years, Michael sort of gave up the football for his swimming was very demanding. So he gave up football for swimming, whereas I stuck with football and then played a bit of tennis and still swam as well. So we carried on the sport sort of into our teenage years, and Laura carried on dancing. So yeah, so it's always been, we're quite a sporty family when we come down to it. Mum loves sport as well, and Dad's always watching something on TV. So
well, yeah, I mean, when he was home, it sounded like he had to be running you guys, and Mom too, running you guys everywhere. Pretty
much. We used to joke that Mum was the taxi for our sporting achievements. So
those were her trophies and the petrol company's trophies.
Yeah, exactly that. When we succeeded, she succeeded.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Because I mean, my kids play. I don't know. My kids just do a lot of stuff, and we try to keep them busy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The worst thing they can do, I think, is to just stare at their screen. And my son is currently 13 and loves his screen. So, I need to do probably a better job of parenting, but it's a different podcast, I think. So I don't know. So when you started playing, was there and continued to play kind of, did you play all the way through university and stuff? Like, has it been pretty constant, or was there kind of stop start in there at any point? So
I have literally been playing football since I was 10. And I have not stopped since. I haven't had a season out. Like touch wood, my biggest injury has taken me out for 3 months, and that was it. So I've played pretty consistently since then. At university, I was captain of our team. So, I've done it. Had a lot of football. Had a lot of time for football. So.
And then what position do you normally play, or have you played? Have you switched positions kind of over the seasons, or have you been pretty consistent at one or two spots?
So when I first started, I think I played midfield somewhere. I think it might have been left midfield, which is weird because I'm right-footed. So I can't remember the reason why, but I was left wing at some point. And then I got put in defence and was very good at heading the ball. So so they kind of left me there in defence, and I played across sort of left back, centre back and right back, and then sort of stuck with right back for ages because I got on really well with our right winger. And we had quite a good partnership on the right wing. So I stayed at right back with her as the player in front of me. And then when I went to university, I ended up playing centre back a lot because their right back was very good. And then when I was captain, it made more sense for me to stay in the middle than be on the side of a pitch.
Yeah.
And I could see more from there. So I stayed centre back pretty much the whole time I was at Winchester. And then when I came out of Winchester, I went to a team called Farnham, and I played right back there, and I've just played right back consistently since, with the odd game where I'll be moved across the back four. So for Southampton, I've played across the back four anywhere, really.
Okay.
But primarily right back.
Yeah. Coming out of university, I guess, how many years was it between the time you came out of university and the time you joined Southampton Women's?
Just one. So I came out of uni in 2012 and did the 2012-2013 season with Farnham, and then joined the Southampton in July of 2013.
Okay. All right.
So it wasn't long.
No. And then, I mean, now you're talking 5 seasons. This is your 6th season, I guess?
Yeah, this is my 6th season. So it's now officially the longest I've played for a club.
Okay. I mean, and it's been an interesting time in the club's kind of history, because I think I'm not sure where they were at that point, but I know since then they've gone to the point of kind of
mad.
Almost, where there was 5 of you training, and then now it's built back up to having 3 senior teams and I think 3 youth teams. And I mean, so just, I guess, what's that been like for you to see that, and to be a part of it and kind of be a part of bringing it back, I guess.
Yeah. So when I joined, they'd literally just gone down from 2 teams to 1 team because they didn't have enough players. So we only had the 1 team, and we were playing in the southern region, which is where our development team are playing now. And to say we lost a lot of games is an understatement, in the nicest way possible. Like, it's one of the seasons I look back on, and it was actually a really good season off the pitch. But on the pitch, I don't know, we just weren't strong enough, I don't think. But looking back and seeing where the club has come from in the 6 years that I've been here is absolutely amazing. I remember when Fran came in, I think Amy Barnett said it on your last podcast. Like, he came in and he was like, "Oh, this is my vision. I want to get us to the WSL." And all of us, subtly laughed because we were like, "Really?" But actually, when you look at what Fran and Simon have done for this club over the 6 years, it's just absolutely incredible. And Amanda, since she's come in, she's brought in these 3 youth teams, and they're doing brilliantly. Like, the results from yesterday with our under-12s, under-16s, and under-11s, it was incredible. Like, our under-11s won 14-1 yesterday. I know. And our under-12s won 2-0, I believe, and our under-16s won 5-1 or 5-2. Like, they're doing brilliantly, and that's due to the hard work that Amanda has put in the last sort of 2 years to get those teams fully running.
Right.
And I just think it's brilliant to see the opportunities that the club is presenting to young sports girls and sportswomen. So it is really good to see where it was and then see what it's come to now.
Yeah, I mean, and when you say Amanda, you're referring to the club secretary, correct? Amanda Burrows?
Yes, yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah, no, she's been great. Every time I've ever had to email the club or ask a question, she's always responded right away and been super helpful.
Yeah,
so
efficiency is key.
and it's important to kind of note, the club doesn't run without somebody doing that, without and
no.
It's a ton of work. I know a lot of you do a lot of other things kind of off the pitch to help the club and do that. And I'm sure maybe Amanda's taken some of those things and off your plate, maybe, hopefully. But
it's funny. Hannah Burrows, who is Amanda's daughter, plays for us. So she's now in our senior team.
Okay.
And she was saying that her and her brother and sister call Southampton women's football Amanda's 4th child. Because she literally spends so much time on it, and it just I think sometimes it can go completely unnoticed because she literally spends every day doing something to do with Southampton women's football.
I will admit, like when I have to email her, I feel a little bit guilty. I'm like, you have so many other things to do. Why am I emailing you about this? But so I try not to. I try to be upfront and plan things, but sometimes I forget. So anyway,
I'm sure she loves it really.
yeah. All right. Well, I guess I skipped over some stuff when we were kind of talking, but like, what do you do for a living? What do you do when you're not kind of training?
So my day-to-day job, I work for a company called Planet Education, who have two sister companies called Elite Football and Elite Rugby. So I'm employed by Planet Education, and we go into schools and we work with teachers to deliver PE lessons to primary school children. So I currently work in two primary schools within Hampshire and Dorset, which are counties over here, and deliver PE sessions to children aged between 4 and 12.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, all in all, I'm a PE teacher, but sports coach. And then, obviously, when the schools aren't in, we deliver our elite football courses or elite rugby courses if you're working that side. So with Elite Football, who are my sponsor, we offer sort of residential courses. We offer sort of the chance to go to overseas tournaments as well. And then we also offer sort of the day camps, which are involved with a lot of, so for example, like our girls football camp for Elite Football at the moment is linked to Rachel Yankee, who was the first professional footballer or female footballer over here. And she's come down to a few of our day courses and delivered sessions, and obviously given speeches and sort of Q&As with players as well. So she's been really good at promoting our girls' side of things. And then on the boys' side, we have some really, really experienced coaches who have worked at Arsenal and Real Madrid and AFC Bournemouth, who come up and deliver masterclasses. So our Elite Football side that runs during the holidays is, is a fantastic opportunity for young footballers to sort of experience what it is like in the elite world of football. So it's really good, really good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean,
yeah, no, it's brilliant. And, I'm one of these really annoying people that gets to wake up in the morning and really look forward to working, which is strange. But I love going into schools and I love working with children. And I think there's something special about delivering PE and sport, and something special with sport where children who maybe don't exceed within the classroom can succeed in other areas. And it's really nice to see. So, no, I really love my job.
Yeah, no, it's super important that, and it's nice because not everybody has that where they get to do the thing that they love and really enjoy. And, sometimes some people get to, also get like some sort of passion project where they can go out and get that kind of fulfillment elsewhere. But if you get to do that at work, that's fantastic. And
yeah, definitely.
The kids are going to benefit from that because it's nice when there's a difference when you walk into a classroom. I'm a teacher as well. So when you walk into a classroom and the teacher loves what they're doing versus the teacher just wanting needs one more year to retire. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, because we work with teachers as well. So part of our service is to sort of upskill teachers as well and just sort of get them confident with teaching PE. And it's surprising to go in and sort of find out how many teachers haven't had that experience with PE themselves, so they don't know how to teach PE. And you're just like, PE is the best subject to teach, because there's no marking, there's no like assessments where you've got to rate them against a number. It is, you can go out and have a lesson and they can be having loads and loads of fun, but they're still succeeding and they're still completing goals related to physical education. So how any teacher can shy away from PE baffles me.
Yeah, no, I know here in the States, or at least in California, a lot of elementary school kids only get PE like once or twice a week.
Yeah, same over here really.
And then in high school, every freshman has to take it. So every their first year with us, they take it. And then if you don't pass, there's like a fitness test you have to pass. If you don't pass that, then you have to take it again as a sophomore.
Oh my God.
But I was always because I played sports, like we had to take it as freshmen, and then you were never going to take PE again unless it was like a weightlifting class that your football coach wanted you to take. Or whatever.
Yeah, I worked in a secondary school through Plan Education not too long ago. Like it wasn't a standard secondary school; it was a Plymouth Brethren secondary school, which is like an offset of Christianity. I don't think I could cope with working in a secondary school, like in normal life, or as it were. But the Plymouth Brethren school was brilliant. But their requirement from sort of, I think it was their head teacher at the time, was they had to do the bleep test every half term, and they hated it.
I bet.
They absolutely hated it.
I bet.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, outside of work and outside of football, what do you do for fun?
Lots of different things, really. So I don't, at the moment, currently, I don't live too far away from the New Forest, which is so it's our national, or it's one of our national parks, and it's massive. And so I quite enjoy going there for a walk, sort of at weekends. And I went there not too long ago with Kirsty Whitten, Tash Angel, and Emma Pinner. And we went pumpkin carving in the New Forest, which was really fun. Bit different, but it was good. And then I went to, I go to a few music gigs with Carleen, who's the reserve team captain. And then sort of just going out for dinner, things like that. So catching up, seeing friends, that sort of thing.
Yeah. When you go out to dinner, do you have a particular type of food you enjoy more than others? What's a I don't know, actually. I went out for pizza yesterday. That was nice. I like pizza.
Burgers are always good. Tapas. Do you like tapas?
Yeah.
So anything really. Just like food.
Yeah, I like food. Food is great.
Yeah.
We have pizza once a week in my house. It's probably, I shouldn't tell anybody that. It's probably ridiculous, but it became
allowed. Pizza Fridays.
It became, we went Tuesday. My wife works Monday, Tuesday night, and Tuesday night was always when I was coaching my son's baseball team or my daughter's soccer team, it was always a football team, I should say. I won't edit that out, but somebody will hear that and make fun of me, but it's okay. There was always practice that night. And so having homework that night and all that stuff, it was like, no, the pizza place around the corner had a deal. I was like, well, I can do that. And it's $8 for a pizza. And I can do that. And it's good pizza. And it's been a thing now. And then it probably went on for probably 2 years before my wife even realized like what was happening. And then she's like, how come I never get pizza? And I was like, well, we eat pizza on Tuesdays when you're at work. I'm sorry. So,
in fact, that's a very dad thing to do. My dad used to do that. Every time mum was out, it was fish and chips from the chippy down the road.
Nice. I mean,
yeah.
during the summer, like now we've had the time changed. And so it gets dark like at 4:35.
Yeah. Like 4:30 now.
So I can't barbecue anymore.
Yeah.
But even like, it's warm enough. It's the middle of November and it's warm enough to barbecue. Like, so like,
oh wow.
On Monday I barbecued, we were off work. I barbecued and it was great. But like, I can't do it. It's hard to do it after work. Usually now I get home from work and it's dark. So
yeah, no, I do like a good barbecue.
Yeah. Well, if you ever come out to California, the barbecue here is different than, let me know. It's different than like the middle of the country or the South where they use a lot of sauces and stuff. This area, we specialize in what's called a Santa Maria style barbecue, which is oak wood, usually tri-tip, which is a cut of meat that not a lot of other places use. And it's very good. And I grew up with it. And so when I go to places, it's like, what is this? And then they don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's, yeah. But yeah, so that's that. I don't know how we got there, but oh well, it'll be it'll be fine. So I mean, we talked about kind of how you came to the club and how long you've been at the club. And for you, you're playing not in the first team, but in the reserves, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And I mean, so what's that kind of been like? Do you train with the first team and do you see those girls kind of go, and you're going to watch them today? So it's like, what's that kind of relationship between the teams like, I think?
The relationship between the teams is great. Like, I think that's 100% the reason why I've stayed so long. A lot of my good friends play in the first team, hence why I'm going to stay. I know, no disrespect to development, obviously I've got good friends that play in development as well. But me and Tash Angel's out injured at the moment, so we're going to go down and just support the first team and sort of catch up as well, because I haven't seen her much this week. So I think the relationship between the girls is across all three teams is fantastic. And it, when you speak to the players, it's definitely one of the reasons why so many people have stuck around for so long. A lot of my good friends down here, I came down to Southampton. I moved in with two friends from university, but my core group of friends down here is because of Southampton women's football. So, personally, I have a lot to owe the club, or owe to the club, due to who I'm obviously friends with now. So I think across all three clubs, we do train together. So we see each other Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But on Tuesdays, it's split. So we train reserves and development together, and then first team do their own training. Mm-hmm. And then on Wednesdays, we split for the first hour, and then we play a game against each other for the last half an hour. So we do train together, and the relationships across all three teams, I think, are brilliant. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like
just one big happy family, really.
Yeah. I mean, it could be really, rough in terms of if you set it up the wrong way as coaches. And I was trying to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work by Simon and the rest of the coaching staff, by Simon Lee, and I'm sure everybody else to make sure that relationship works, Yeah,
I think, those guys, they do a lot. They do put a lot of time into us. But I think, the base underlying thing, I think, is we're just a nice bunch of girls, really. I think, there's not anyone that I don't think doesn't have time for anybody else. And I think, you rock up to training and you could be a 16-year-old playing in the development squad, but I think someone from the first team will more than happily say hello and have a conversation with you, and likewise across all three teams. And I think from when I first started, where we had the one team, in that first season that I played, we had, I don't know how many games, but I think we lost all of them bar one. But I think the unity we had as a team was fantastic, and I think that's just continued since I first started, and I think it was probably there before I started as well. So when you've got players like Kirsty Bell and Amy Barnett pushing you to do your best, I think that brings out the best in everyone. I think we are just generally a nice team, so we will make time for each other. And at the end of the day, any club goal that we have is shared between all of us. So I think we are just, without blowing our own trumpet, we are just a nice team of girls, really.
Yeah. And then for you playing in the reserves, what is there a goal for the reserve team? Did the reserve team kind of set goals for themselves in terms of? Oh yeah, definitely. This season,
we have our own goals.
And what was that? What are some of those? I guess.
So we've just been put in this league, and the league we're in now is basically the development league for the first teams league. So it's the development league for anyone in the national leagues. So in our league, we have Crystal Palace reserves, Lewis reserves, AFC Wimbledon development, I think, us, Poole Town reserves. So it's basically, it's set up so that anyone that's not making the first team can then still compete at the same level and then hopefully break into the first team.
Okay.
Or for whichever club they play for. So I think our goal, because we've had a lot of changes this season in terms of players, I think we've actually only kept 4 or 5 reserve team players from last season.
Okay.
So we've had to bring in a load of, the under 16s got older, as you do, and they became eligible to play for our senior teams. So they've come in. So I think there's so many of them. There must be probably about 16 under 16s that have come up to adult football. Then there's the 5 that have remained from last season, and we must have had to bring in about 10 new players, I think we've got overall. It's quite a lot. So, primary goal this season was just to sort of blend as a team and do well as a team. Lee's obviously come in to coach us and has stepped up from assistant manager of the first manager of the reserves. So, we had to make sure that we blend together and we work well together. But obviously we want to be winning as many games as possible. We want to be competing at the top end of that league. And sort of at the end of the season looking back and be like, do you know what, we did very, very well as a new team in a new league under a new manager. I think that's our overall goal.
Yeah, absolutely. On a match day, obviously not today because it's not a match day, but what do you approach it the same way every day? You have a routine? It seems like I ask this question every time, and it seems like all the answers for most of the girls are that there is a routine, that it starts the night before and all this stuff. Is it the same for you? Yeah.
I very much like my match day routine. And I don't like it being messed up because then I'm like, no, focus. So the night before, I try and get an early night. So I'll try and sort of get ready for bed about 10 and then be in bed for 10 and 10:30 and sort of get to sleep as early as I can. And then I'll wake up at like 8:30 the next day, sort of have a coffee and like a bowl of cereal or something. And then about 11 o'clock, I used to have pasta, but then I find it really hard to eat pasta that early in the morning. So I've started just having toast with like peanut butter and jam and stuff, just to sort of get some form of energy. And then I'll drive to the game. And then when I get to the game, I have to have banana. And then it's sort of like the same every week, really, apart from when it's an away game. We had to travel to Lewis last weekend, which was a long travel. So that messed up any form of routine I had. So I ended up cooking some pasta and ended up taking it with me on the coach. And then just ate it on the coach. So it's a different routine when it's an away day, but, away days are always fun.
Did anybody give you trouble for eating pasta on the coach, or was everybody else doing the same thing?
Everybody else was doing the same thing. We stopped at a service station on our way there and people picked up the subway. So, yeah, it's not too bad. And one of the other girls, Georgia, she had pasta as well. So
I was scolded by someone for eating on the tube, and I didn't realize I was breaking a rule.
Oh, really?
So I was just wondering. So anyway, that was the result of being jet lagged, possibly intoxicated, and then needing something. And it was whatever. It was fine. All right, I mean, so after you say you played last week, what do you feel like? Like, what's your body feel like after that? Whether it's that night or the next day, are you super sore? Or do you have a routine to kind of make sure you don't feel that way, or how do you feel after that?
Last week, I don't know why, but I actually felt all right. I came off the pitch and I played near enough 80 minutes, and there was a lot of sort of back and forward sprints as well. But actually, my legs felt okay last weekend. Normally, they kind of feel a bit stiff. Obviously, feel like I've done 90 minutes of exercise, if not more. So they can feel a bit tired, as it were. I don't tend to do much on Sunday evenings. I just kind of try to relax, watch Match of the Day 2 if it's on. And then on Mondays, I'll go to the gym again and I'll just cycle for about 20 minutes just to sort of loosen them up a little bit, ready for training on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I'll do primarily an arm session on a Monday, just so I'm not working my legs too hard prior to the week of training. But I try and do a recovery session on my legs.
You play the game Sunday, you have training Tuesday, Wednesday. So if you do anything with your legs, you probably do it again maybe Friday, because you wouldn't want to do it too close to the game either, right? Yeah,
I do it Friday. Yeah, Tash and Witten are my gym buddies, as it were. We go to this thing called DTN on Friday, which stands for Defying the Normal. And it's basically Carl, and the personal trainer, has like a group session. And we do lots of different things. So some days, Fridays can be very much like arms based, I guess. And then he'll do like compound exercises, and then it's very sort of weights based and all about form and stuff like that. So I'll do that on a Friday and then just hope that my legs have recovered by the Sunday.
Yeah.
if I was playing today, I'd be dead, because on Friday we did legs and we did a heavy leg session. So I don't know if I would have coped with the game today.
Yeah, well, it's worked out.
Yeah, exactly.
As personal goals for yourself, what, coming into a season, what were some of the personal goals that you kind of set for yourself to kind of push yourself to I guess, progress in terms of playing?
So at the end of last season, my personal goal was just to get fitter. So I wanted to get faster, was my primary goal, and then I wanted to get stronger as well. So I did a lot of sprint work, a lot of speed work, changing direction quickly and all of that stuff. Interval in terms of sprinting as well in pre-season, and then like a lot of muscle building as well. But then coming into the season, my personal goal was just to be the starting right back for the reserves week in, week out, and then obviously perform well each game. It's had its barriers, so I haven't started every game for the reserves, and I've played some games in the development. But that doesn't mean that I haven't or won't continue to work hard to still achieve that goal, because I've got the rest of the season. So fingers crossed it's still achievable.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it seems like we only hear from people who are achieving their goals, and so it might always feel like, and then if you're not, it's like everybody's succeeding except for me, and so I think it's good that you're kind of not discouraged, you're working towards it, and that's kind of what it's all about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's no bigger motivation than not achieving something. And it just makes me want to work harder and work better and work stronger to sort of get to the point where I want to be, and to the point where I can't be ignored, and I will be hopefully starting right back. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So we have a couple of minutes left. I know we have a little bit of a time limit. So
that's fine.
We have questions from some of your teammates, some of your club mates, and other people. There are a lot, so I don't know if we'll get to all of them.
Okay.
We did have a question come in from Instagram, but I think we kind of answered it already. And it was in reference to, why did you choose Southampton Women's FC ahead of other clubs? So I think we kind of talked about that.
Yeah.
Maybe indirectly, but in terms of, and that was from Red Zone Saint, which is actually a Southampton Saints men's team supporting account.
Really?
So yeah, so that came in. That was nice. So
good question though.
Yeah. From Christy Witten asked. There's 3 questions, and so I'll let you choose which one you want to answer. It says, top advice for young players. That's one question. 2, if you can make a 5-a-side from any players, male or female, who would you choose and why? Third question is, do your legs still ache from Friday's session? Mine do. So I'll let you pick one of those to kind of pick apart, and then we'll move on.
Well, my legs definitely still ache. So in terms of advice for young players, it's not really advice that's come from myself, but it's advice that I've heard over the last couple of years, and which I try to sort of live by, as it were. But I mentioned earlier that my company has a sister company called Elite Rugby, and we ran a course last summer where Eddie Jones, the England rugby manager, came down, and he ran a session, but he also gave a speech or a Q&A at the end of the day. He was asked by a player or one of the guys that went, is there any advice that you would give? And what he said was that hard work outweighs talent when talent stops working. And for me, I've never been a talented player. Like, I work hard and I try and do the simple stuff. I don't personally think that I are very good in terms of taking a player on or the skills that I can do. So I try to sort of work hard and put a lot of effort in to outweigh the, maybe another player that's maybe more talented in that respect than I am. So I always think that if I'm working hard, then that's going to outweigh anything else that happens. So that would probably be my advice for younger players is just to always work hard and don't take anything for granted, because, for all we know, I could get injured on Tuesday and that's me out for the season. So I don't think anything should ever be taken for granted in football and in life. So yeah, that would be sort of the advice that I would go by.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, people can definitely relate. Some people can go out and do, they just put a ball at their feet and they can immediately do, 5,000 step overs and
yeah, exactly.
Nutmeg and all this other stuff. I just run a lot, and
yeah,
and
exactly
I make
that.
sure I think mentally, you have to understand the game and then be able to work and do all the physical stuff. And then if you can do that, then I think people will notice that. And whether it means you play every week or it means that everybody just respects you for doing that, I think that's important.
Exactly.
So.
And I think the things that I know I can do, if I do them to the best of my ability, then that, if anything, is going to be more noticeable than if I'm trying to take on players and failing.
Yeah. Tash, who you're going to see in 5 minutes, says, if you could play on the pitch with any lioness, who would it be and why?
That's a good one. That is a good one. I would say Lucy Bronze, because I think she's a cracking player, but if Lucy Bronze was on the pitch, I wouldn't be on the pitch because she's right back. So I really like Millie Bright, who's the centre-back for England at the moment and a Chelsea player. I really, really like her. I think she's strong. She commands the defence, and she stops any striker getting through. So it would be really nice to sort of play against, or play not play against, but play next to her. So yeah, I'd probably go Millie Bright.
Okay. All right. Andy Rowans, who is at Coach Zen, asked some questions in terms of advice and stuff that we've gotten over, or gone over. And then he also says, who has done the best and worst initiation song over the years?
So we brought this in last year and only one person has done it. So Rebecca Cork, who deserves a massive shout out for doing it, sang Spice Girls, If You Want to Be My Lover.
Oh, wow.
And it was brilliant. There's a video somewhere. It was absolutely fantastic, and she had us all laughing before the game. And I think that actually got us in the mood to play the game. We ended up winning that game, which was fantastic. We did do it when I was at Winchester University. We used to go on these tours, which was basically going abroad to play football and maybe have a drink or two.
Rough life.
Obviously. So we went to Spain one year, and I remember my friend Hayley Sturgis on the coach there. She decided to sing, I think it was Down by Jason Derulo, maybe. I can't remember who sang the song, but that was probably the worst initiation song I've heard.
Oh, no.
And Hayley will hands up say that she's amazing at karaoke, but do not believe anything she says.
All right. I don't know. Karaoke is a horrible thing. It shouldn't be a thing, but it always sounds like a good idea, and then it's not.
I can't personally say I've ever done karaoke, and if I have, it was like SingStar when I was 10.
Yeah.
So I can't say I ever stood up and did it, but Hayley was always great at getting everyone pumped for a night out because of her singing. So.
She actually sent in a question on Facebook.
Oh God.
And she says, who's the best footballer you've ever played with? And
not said.
it's several emojis there, including the laughing, crying one. So
yeah, I feel like she might be fishing for a compliment.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say everyone, but not Sturge.
That's what friends are for.
Exactly. And she'll probably kill when I don't see her, but.
Amy Barnett sent in one, and she says, first, thank you for staying with the club when it was going through hard times. And then she asked kind of, what's your highlight since being at the club? And then what's kept you at the club kind of all of those years? So
my highlight, that's a good one. It's hard because there've been a lot of highlights. obviously there was a season not too long ago where we went unbeaten for the league in the reserves team, and we won the league and we won 18 games out of 18, which as a team was fantastic, and that's obviously a massive highlight. But for me personally, I lost a lot of confidence that season. So although it's a highlight, it's sort of not outweighed, but sort of dampened by my own personal experience that season.
Okay.
So although it's very much a team highlight, and I look back and I'm so glad to have been a part of that team, it's almost dampened a little bit. But I think last year the reserves won the SDFA Cup. That for me, I think, was a real big highlight. We'd had a bit of a rocky season. We started off, we won the first, I think, 2 or 3 games maybe, and then we went on a real downer, and we lost quite a lot of games back to back. We lost a lot of players that just weren't liking football anymore.
Okay.
I don't think they could not cope with the pressure, but they found the pressure quite hard to deal with and to manage as well. And then in January, Lee ended up taking over. And, the first few games were tough. We were still trying to get the numbers to field a side of 11, but we were slowly building, and you could see that in the games that we played and the belief that Lee had in us as well. And, one thing Lee has always been very good at is motivating players. And, you could see that in the first team. When he's been assistant manager, he's very good at sort of getting players ready for games and riled up. And I think he did that for us at the end of last season, to the point that we then had a really good cup run. We played a semi-final against the Hampshire Police, and that went to extra time, but it was such a good game of football. And everyone came off that pitch absolutely buzzing. The players scored some absolute worldies. It was just a really good game.
Yeah.
And then the highlight, I think the final we played, I can't remember where we played it, but for me, I had my parents came down to watch. I had some good friends in the crowd. It was a really good atmosphere. We ended up playing Sholing at Sholing's ground, which in a cup game isn't technically allowed, as it were. So there were a lot of Sholing fans there who were very loud. But we went in at half time. We were 1-0 up through a great goal from Paris. And we kind of said at half time, why are we not smashing this game? We should be absolutely thrashing them.
Yeah.
And that second half, we came out and I think we absolutely bossed it. We were brilliant. And I think at the end of that game, winning that game, it just felt so good. And it felt like it had been such a build-up that season. And it had been every low that we had as a team, it was then outweighed by this massive high of winning that cup.
Yeah.
And, it was brilliant. It was such a good thing to be a part of. And Emma Bottomley, who's unfortunately left the club now, but it was her 300 and something appearance, and she'd been at the club since she was 16. She sort of captained us for the last sort of 10, 15 minutes, and seeing her lift the cup at the end for someone who's given so much to the club, it was a really good and positive thing to be a part of. So for me, I think that's definitely one of the highlights that are up there.
Yeah.
But in terms of why I've stayed at the club, I think that comes down to the players. I don't think I would have stayed had it not been for the likes of players like Amy Barnett and Kirsty Bell, who have been around, and Tash, Witten, Emma Pinner, Carleen, and loads of players that have left as well. I don't think had it been for players like that I would have stuck around. I think, when I say that we're a nice team, we do genuinely care for each other, and we, there's nothing greater than playing next to someone that truly believes in you and will truly boost you up when you need it and make you focus on the positives. And I think there are a lot of players in this squad across all 3 teams that will do that. And I think a lot of people have stayed because of the people that are here. And I think that's credit to the club, and I think that's credit to the girls themselves. And the 16s that have come up, they have so much potential as well. And with their ability, this club will only grow because they're fantastic players themselves. So I think the players that we have are just brilliant, personally.
Yeah. Well,
a lot of team love.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the listeners will agree in that a lot of people might say that, but it actually sounds like it's the truth. It doesn't sound like you're just saying that so that nobody 2-foots you during practice, which is good.
I hope they wouldn't do that anyway, but
well, because you guys actually like each other, or it's
yeah. I just think it's nice to be surrounded by a bunch of girls that will truly boost and believe in you, and they'll support you in anything really. And I think it's so good to hear, and there is almost like a positive energy that comes from each player. So, and each player brings something different. That's the nice thing. We're not all the same people. Like, we all bring something different, and that's why I think we're such a good bunch of girls, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Becky, I just want to say thank you for your time and talking to me. It's been wonderful, and you were easy to set this up with and easy to work on. I know I had to make some schedule changes, so I appreciate that.
That's fine. It almost worked in our favor not having the game today.
yeah. And I'll be honest, I didn't realize you didn't have a game yet until you mentioned that. So I was
no. To be fair, I didn't find out till Friday. So
perfect. Okay, I'm always worried about throwing off the match day routine. I don't want to be that guy.
No.
And then let's see. We mentioned your sponsor is Elite Football, and they are on Twitter at Elite Football DC, and the link to that is in the show notes. So if people want to check that out, you have a match to attend and get to enjoy and kind of relax.
Cheer on the team.
Yeah.
Hopefully, see some really good goals.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be plenty of them, and I will be kind of following along on Twitter as my normal thing goes. So I once again thank you, and I just appreciate your time. Oh no, it's brilliant. My pleasure. But we'll talk to you next time, and I appreciate it, and thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
And that does it for episode 97 of the Southampton Delivery Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Special thanks this week goes out to Becky Harris. She's at Becky4H. She is sponsored by Elite Football, which you can find on Twitter at Elite Football DC, and the links are in the show notes to give them a follow and check out what they have to offer. And on that note, everyone who plays for the Southampton Women's Football Club works off of sponsorships. The club survives off of those sponsorships. I am a sponsor of the club. If you feel like you can give and donate, or become a player sponsor or a coach sponsor or just a club sponsor, please reach out. All of the links are in the show notes. And like Becky said, Amanda is a wonderful person to work with, and the club, as you can hear, is a wonderful thing to be a part of. So I couldn't be happier to do that. If not, simply go out and support them when they play the girls, and everybody will appreciate it. So thank you so much to the Southampton Women's Football Club for allowing me access to the players and the staff and everything else. It's been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to next time. My partner for this show is the Southampton page on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. For all your Southampton FC news and needs, be sure to follow the Southampton page. Links are in the show notes if you want to do that. The logo for the show is designed by Matt Beeling of the We Are Southampton page on Instagram. For all your matchday edits, polls, competitions, and more, be sure to check out the We Are Southampton page on Instagram. All music for the show comes courtesy of the Free Music Archive at freemusicarchive.org. The intro song is Epic Song by Boxcat Games, and the end of show credits that you're listening to right now is Aim is True by Poddington Bear. One of the things I could ask, I will ask for you, is if you haven't done so already and you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe so you get future episodes. You can do that wherever you listen, from iTunes to Google Podcasts to wherever. But most of all, simply thank you for listening. It means a lot, and it's one of the things I'm thankful for right now. And until next time, remember that together we march on.